Welcome to Friday's edition of TimesCast. Alexi Barrenueva reports from Chile on new video from the trapped miners.
Their entire lifeline is essentially this 4-inch in diameter borehole.
Ben Bernanke says the Fed is ready to purchase more long-term debt.
The reasons for this were in part because American companies were not stocking up their warehouse shelves as much as originally anticipated.
And what to expect on the eve of the U.S. Open.
It really is an opportunity for somebody to step forward this year.
Last night, the government released a video. It showed the first images of the miners actually in the mine. And it was about a 45-minute video. It was sort of a tour of the space where they're staying, the shelter, and the tunnels that are adjoining to that shelter. One of the miners had a helmet light and walked around, showing the faces and getting the miners to talk to their families briefly and trying to explain the organization that they have in the mine. What's really remarkable about what's happening in this story is that these 33 miners trapped a half a mile or so below the earth are getting, their entire lifeline is essentially this 4-inch in diameter borehole through which the government is sending everything, including this water, cereal bars that now have been their first solid food. So the miners have been told in the last 2 days that they cannot expect to get out of there before the September 18th Independence Day in Chile, and they were kind of given an indication that they're certainly hoping to get them out before Christmas. But so that implies that they're going to be there well over a month, and it could be as much as 4 months kind of captivity in that subterranean home that they have now.
Motoko Rich and Catherine Rampell discuss the Fed and the latest economic numbers.
So Motoko, we had a revised GDP report today looking at the numbers for economic output growth in the second quarter of this year. Could you talk to us a little bit about the good, the bad, and the ugly within that report?
Well, I'm afraid there was a little more bad and ugly than there was good.
Okay.
But what we were expecting from this report was that it's a revision of the growth rate for the U.S. economy, and it was revised down as expected. The reasons for this were in part because American companies were not stocking up their warehouse shelves as much as originally anticipated. And also, we bought more from overseas than we sold overseas, so in other words, the trade gap was wider.
But there was a little bit of a silver lining, right, on the consumer spending
There was
side?
a little bit of silver lining. I think people were a little surprised to see the consumer spending grew a little bit faster than originally reported last month. And so the question is whether that will continue.
Along those lines, Ben Bernanke gave a speech in Wyoming this morning talking a little bit about what more the Fed can be doing or should be doing. So what were his thoughts?
One of the things is he sort of re-emphasized that the economic recovery, such as it is fairly weak. He did also emphasize that he thinks the economy is still in recovery, which I think is sort of an important point in this debate, that you have the Fed chairman out there saying that we are in recovery, albeit at a very modest rate. But he also talked about the possibility that the Fed could start to buy more long-term assets.
Pushing more money into the system, easing everyone's fears. I mean, it sort of seemed like the general message was just, calm down, we have the big guns available if we need them, and everything seems to be more or less under control, and we're prepared if things really go awry.
And Tom Jolly and Lynn Zinser on who to look for at the Open.
More than any other year, the U.S. Open truly is wide open this year. No Serena Williams. Roger Federer seems no longer invincible. What do you look for on the women's side this year with such a wide open field?
Yeah, it really is an opportunity for somebody to step forward this year because Serena is not here. It certainly opens the door for a first-time winner like Caroline Wozniacki, who comes in as the very unexpected #1 seed. Kim Clijsters certainly could win again. She has the game and the mental toughness. She's shown that. So it really is wide open. Plus, Venus Williams is the #3 seed, but she is not playing well at all. She's got issues with a kneecap injury. It really does leave the door pretty wide open.
And on the men's side, in the last 7 years, only 3 players have won a major who weren't named Nadal or Federer. And last year, of course, Federer was upset in the final by Del Potro. And of course, Del Potro is not here this year because he's also hurt. But is this the year that Nadal finally breaks through, or is there another Del Potro lurking out there?
It definitely is an opening for Nadal because Federer, although he's still Roger Federer and you can never count him out, certainly has not looked anywhere near his dominant self. And Nadal has actually put some pieces together in his game that might make it a little more amenable to the hard surface. And he's also healthy. But there's also people out there lurking who could be the next Del Potro, although it's hard to call Andy Murray the next one, Martin Del Potro, because he's been coming for so long, but he really, really has been playing well, and he could definitely kind of grab this opportunity if he can put 2 weeks together.
Join us again on Monday for another edition of TimesCast.